I wanted to talk about balance today, specifically how to balance, writing and creating in general with everything else, like family and the household stuff, bills, laundry, dishes. You get the idea. It is honestly so hard, and you're not alone because I'm right there with you. I don't know, I don't get why people say things like, Bethany, how are you so productive? And you look like you're getting everything done, when I almost never ever feel that way. Personally, I feel like I'm just keeping my head above water over here. I'm currently in a new season where I'm trying to write a brand new first draft of a book, and I haven't done this in a very long time, while also being a stay-at-home mom with 2 kids. So I've got a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old, almost 4 months. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I'm also trying to juggle like laundry and dishes, but also I want to do YouTube. And so there's like all that creative stuff, and of course newsletters and admin stuff, and should be marketing on social media. I'm not, but I should be. Toddler messes, baths, play dates, family, church. You get the picture. I just think it's really funny that people who are like kind of like on the outside looking in say things like, how do you get it all done? Like, it all done. What a joke, because I do not get it all done. And maybe it's just because I'm so aware of what my to-do list actually is that it just feels like, what are you talking about? But I do have some things that have helped me in the past, and a few extra things that have been helping me in this particular season. And I was like, let's talk about it. Let's just share with each other. You can tell me some things that have helped you, and I will share what's currently helping me to actually be fairly productive despite having a little baby and a crazy wild toddler. As always, I do have notes just in case my mom brain completely fails me and I forget what I'm talking about. But the first thing that I wanted to mention is kind of a mindset thing, but it's also an action step. It is choosing what to drop. So, okay, let me explain. There's a story I heard once about how we're all juggling balls in life, right? So just picture like you're juggling, I don't know, 20, 30, I have no idea how many balls. And some of them are rubber and they just bounce if they're dropped, while others are glass. And if you drop them, they're gonna shatter. This was actually like a pastor who said this a long time ago. I have no idea where he got the story, but basically he was describing like, look at your life to see which things are rubber and which things are glass, so that you can choose if something does have to drop. Is it gonna be a rubber ball or a glass ball? Some examples of rubber balls for me are this YouTube channel, writing, honestly, cleaning, because if the dishes sit a day or 3 in the sink, it's not the end of the world. But on the flip side, some examples of glass balls for me would be my family, important relationships, my kids, my health. So if those things get dropped, there's going to be serious consequences, right? One of the things that's helped me, especially in this particular season of life, but in the past too, is really being conscious in advance of which balls I'm going to probably have to drop. Because when you're juggling way more than humanly possible, like what human is going around juggling 20 to 30 balls and never dropping any of them? Nobody. Then we know for a fact something's probably going to drop today, maybe multiple things. I would prefer to drop something that is rubber. So if I'm going to look at the day and be like, there is not enough time for everything, I'm going to prioritize spending time with my son and taking care of my daughter, and I'm going to let the dishes wait till tomorrow. That's fine. Some people might not like that particular analogy. If dishes are like a glass ball for you, do your thing. Like, I am not judging you or telling you what should be your glass balls. I'm just saying that the kind of hack here, I guess, is to know in advance so that you can actually choose in advance, this is probably going to get dropped today. And that actually goes along with my next note here, how expectations are what set us up for frustration a lot of the time. Maybe a better way to put this is like, what's a good example? Okay, I got a good one. If I'm putting my daughter down for her nap and it's lining up with my son's nap and he only has 1 nap in the day, she has 4, whatever, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna go to sleep, he is asleep, I'm gonna have 2 straight hours to write. But then she wakes up 20 minutes later, I'm instantly gonna be frustrated, right? Because my expectations weren't met. They were way off, pretty much. On the flip side, if I go into it with the expectation of, okay, he's napping, she's gonna nap, but she's kind of in a catnap stage. I might only get 20 minutes. Let's make the most of it. Then if I get a little longer, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, maybe even an hour, I'm pleasantly surprised. And I don't have any issue if she does wake up 20 minutes later because I expected it. Nothing in my circumstances changed there at all, only my expectations. But one led to me feeling like, this sucks, everything's the worst. And the other one led to me being like, this is an awesome day. I just got extra 10 minutes or whatever it might be. When I'm with my kids in general, this has helped me because I used to try to sort of carry around a silent multitasking thing in my brain. I don't know how to describe this. Like I was like, okay, if I'm watching them, I need to be fully invested in hanging out with them, but also I should be thinking about my story and maybe also thinking about the dishes, and I should be planning what to cook tonight for dinner and blah, 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 blah. And so this whole multitasking thing is just ridiculous, first of all. If you've ever been around kids, you know that you can't exactly be thinking about something else while you're hanging out with them, unless they're independently playing, which is awesome, and that does happen. But anyway, coming back to my notes, because I'm rambling here, I'm gonna let go of trying to do all the things and just focus on what I'm doing right now. In other words, I'm gonna let go of the other balls and just kind of juggle one at a time. It's a lot simpler. That's kind of a bonus tip. I didn't actually write that down. But that leads to what I'm gonna call themed days. So back when, before I had kids, I used to do themed days very differently. This used to mean like, you know, Mondays are for social media posts that I'm gonna do for the whole week. Tuesdays, I will do, you know, newsletter and a YouTube video or something. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will be for writing. So I used to theme them all work related, right? Well, it's the same idea, but I'm just doing it like with a kid focus, I guess. So for me, what this looks like is out of that massive list of things that I want to do, again, all the things, when people are like, how do you do all the things? I really don't. What I do is I have that whole list of them. It's like eating healthy, cleaning the house, playing with my kids, writing, YouTube videos, so on. And instead of cramming them all into the same day and immediately feeling like a failure because nobody's gonna get all of that done in one day, what I do instead is I will choose like a theme for that specific day. Like Monday, we cook, and I will have my toddler help me, so he's involved, and we'll make multiple meals for the whole week because I hate cooking. It is the absolute worst. Tuesday, we clean up that massive amount of dishes that I left from the day before because I'm like, we're doing one thing at a time, right? Tuesday might be about cleaning in general. We clean up the whole kitchen. Maybe we do some other cleaning around the house. And then maybe Wednesday, I get some help with the kids. That tends to be the day where I get help. I will just drop everything, who cares about the house, and I'm gonna go write, and I'm gonna focus on my work and take advantage of that time. But then maybe Thursday comes around and that's gonna be themed like fun day, I don't know. And we're gonna like have play dates and just hang out outside and just really enjoy the day and not worry about getting stuff done. But maybe Friday, I see the disaster that the house has become, and it's time to pick up all the toys and do just a thorough pickup across the house, do some more cleaning. You get the point. Like, it's specific things for each day instead of trying to do all the above in one single day. It can take a lot of stress off our plates, honestly, because this whole like, I have to do everything, that just leads to burnout. It's not possible. It leads to frustration. Again, going back to those expectations I was talking about. If you expect to do the impossible and then don't do the impossible because you're human, you're just going to be frustrated for no reason. Okay, so we've talked about intentionally dropping things, whether for like a season of life or just for the day or week or month or whatever the case is for you. And then we've talked about theming our days, and those two things are really, really helpful for me in this season right now. But the third thing that has made me really weirdly productive lately is kind of a bit more painful, or at least I thought it would be. It's not as bad as I thought though, which is funny to say. And that is giving up what I'm gonna call my Netflix time. And it's not always actually Netflix, you know, sometimes it's Amazon Prime. No, I'm just kidding. Sometimes it's also just like doom scrolling and totally wasting time on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, YouTube videos. What else? Just waffling around the house doing nothing, like totally wasting time and being like, what was I even doing? Basically, it's that couple hours after the kids go to bed, which is usually roughly around 8 o'clock, right? Like my toddler is supposed to be 8 o'clock. It's usually a little after. And then the baby is somewhere between 7 and 9, depending on the night. So there's like 2-ish hours where it's just finally downtime, me time. Sometimes I hang out with my husband, but sometimes we're both doing our own thing. So I could have called it couch potato time instead of Netflix time. It's lazy time. That's a better word for it. Ugh. And before I say anything else, I still do this a lot, okay? Because I'm exhausted right now in particular. And last night I did doom scroll and then I regretted it. I was like, what did I just do the last hour? I wasted it. But there are a lot of other nights where I've gotten into the habit of being so excited about this 2 hours of freedom and so excited about my story or whatever the case may be, YouTube videos, that I actually get stuff done. And so not letting myself sit down on the couch to veg and do Netflix or doom scroll has been a huge game changer for me, because 2 hours or even 1 hour, if I, start out doom scrolling and then I go, wait, stop. Even just 30 minutes a night, okay? Because sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm done, I'm going to bed. Even just like 30 minutes a night can really add up. I just recorded a video about how I'm writing in Google Docs here, so let's see if I can show you. Ooh, don't read it though. And the reason I bring this up is because there's a word count, 29,185 words. So I am just under 30,000 words, and I started on March 14th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 weeks, because I have not written over Easter weekend at all. So I'm not going to bother with that. So in 5 weeks, I wrote 30,000 words, which, for past me, I used to write a novel in a month, like 50K or more. But for current me, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Anyway, coming back to my notes, let me focus. These tips, they're not new to me, they're just what's working for me currently. And I think every season in life is probably different for all of us, so don't feel like you have to force any of these if they're just not a good fit for you. I just wanted to share, and then also invite you to share in the comments, and if there's anything that's been helping you specifically, I would love to know. But for those of you who are like me and maybe you're in a season of life where it is a little slower, where you're getting less done, and maybe you're getting frustrated like I have been occasionally with I've only written for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and I've only written, 100 something more words in the document this week or whatever. Then I just want to leave you with something that, funny enough, I actually got from my fitness journey. Hold on, it needs a prop. 1 second. This looks weird, but I promise there's a point. So there was this person in the fitness industry. Actually, I think it was like a TikTok that they shared in a YouTube video. I don't even know the origin, but just go with me, right? So there is you, right? So you're like, this is where you start on day 1. They're exactly the same. All right, so day 1, they don't look any different, right? Day 2, and 3, still looking pretty much the same, okay? So even if you do, day 4, day 5, day 6, and day 7, you're putting a lot of work into it, whether it's fitness or writing your book, right? Or whatever else it might be, it still looks about the same. Doesn't seem like any progress is being made, right? But if you stick it out, all of a sudden, you've made some progress. And it's noticeable. Whether, again, it's fitness, which is where I got this, and it's weight loss, which is what I'm really trying to do. As a side note, it's not relevant to this channel. I'm trying to lose baby weight, okay? That's another thing, is relevant to my life right now. But it could also be extremely applicable to writing. For me, I feel like I have so much to do, sometimes it doesn't seem worth it. But when I show up, day after day after day, suddenly I've written 30,000 words and I've made a real dent in what I want to do. And I'm here on the other side of it. Well, kind of. I still get wrapped up in the whole there's so much to do mentality. The whole I'm never going to finish this book. I just don't know if I'll ever get it done. There's so much left. I never work enough. I still struggle with that mentality, but then I look at how far I've come. And this is a weird metaphor, okay? But just imagine you just keep putting it in, and even if your day only looks like this much, you're still putting in the time. I'll use these for my toddler later, don't worry. But even if you don't feel like you're making progress, you are. As long as we show up, as long as we keep putting in the work, we are making progress. I'm saying this more for myself than anything right now, because I've been having a couple bad days. I've fallen off the wagon with writing and I want to get back to it. But every time that I stop, I get in my head about progress and feeling like I'm behind. But that's a moving target. So I'm just gonna move the deadline. And therefore I'm not behind anymore. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I hope that was encouraging to you. Don't forget that The Queen's Rise comes out in paperback on Friday, May 9th, 2025. If you haven't grabbed a copy and you want to read this story, it's a YA fantasy with 3 books in a trilogy inside, plus 2 exclusive bonus scenes in the back, and a few other fun goodies as well. All right, happy reading!